DramaCityProductions.com.
You are plugged in for the Podcast Wrestling Society, where you can get dynamic weekly pro wrestling and MMA-related content. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PODWRES Society so that you can stay in the know.
Faith is the place, and the sky's the limit.
And if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, your host, he is the one and only Troy Adams.
It's that time yet again to break out the TLC. And no, we don't mean tender love and care. It's the TLC and Final Battle wrap-up show here on the Podcast Wrestling Society. I'm your loving leader, benevolent host, Midwest Monster, and I am so uncensored Troy Adams. And joining me today, he is the Carl Anderson to my Luke Gallows. He is good brother Kyle. What up, Kyle?
What is going on?
It has been a big weekend for wrestling. Big 4 days of wrestling. If you want to, because we are going to be talking about Raw and SmackDown. Just to kind of lay out the podcast here for today, we will not be covering This Week in Wrestling History. We will not be covering news, but we are covering all the fallout from the weekend. It was Ring of Honor's final pay-per-view of the year, Final Battle, and it is generally their biggest one of the year. The Elite has said goodbye to Ring of Honor. Well, at least most of the Elite. I'll get into that later. They are all leaving Ring of Honor. They're leaving the territory, which makes me believe they're all headed for the Big E. And I don't mean 1/3 of the New Day. But Kyle did not watch. He's not really a Ring of Honor guy. But I did watch, and I will cover all of that for you later. But Kyle and I are going to cover TLC, which is the last WWE pay-per-view of the year. And we'll cover that as well as all the fallout from Raw and SmackDown. And because Raw and SmackDown were preempted for next week, since it is the holidays, and they're trying to give their guys and gals a week off to spend with their families for Christmas and Christmas Eve, they pre-recorded next week. So I have the spoilers for you, but Kyle does not want to know. I stumbled across them anyway, so I figured, what the hell? If you all don't want to hear the spoilers, I will give you a warning after Kyle is gone. We will go to a commercial break, and then we will lay out some spoilers, if you will. And then, after the next break, we will cover Ring of Honor Final Battle. So, that's as good as I can lay it out for all of y'all. You think that's good enough, Kyle?
Sounds good to me.
Alrighty. Look, before we dive into all there is to dive into, instead of doing like a bunch of stopping to promote, this thing and that thing and whatever, I'll kind of mix some stuff in sporadically throughout the show, but right now I do want to let you know, we're going to right now tell you about our association with WrestlingWithWrestling.com, as well as, if you want to be advertising with the podcast, I'll tell you how, and you can get your product to a bigger audience now that we are on WrestlingWithWrestling.com and DramaCityProductions.com. Go to WrestlingWithWrestling.com. They're covering all four corners of the ring, from recaps of shows like what we're doing today, or the latest news that we can't get to here on the podcast because we only do one show a week, so that's a lot to get to. There's a lot of videos and podcasts and interviews, lots of great stuff available on there. And if you want your stuff to be advertised on this podcast, on our YouTube channel, and all over WrestlingWithWrestling.com because of us, then definitely go to advertisecast.com/podcast wrestling society. There you can see all the stats of the show, our outreach on the podcast and social media, all of our numbers, our stats, and all that good stuff. And you can see our prices. We will advertise whatever you need us to, and we will talk you up. So that's advertisecast.com/podcast wrestling society. And you can be featured on WrestlingWithWrestling.com because of us. WrestlingWithWrestling.com, covering all four corners of the ring. Later on in the show, now that we've kind of told you about all that important stuff right here, we will tell you later on how you can buy our fresh and clean merchandise. You know, I know that, the holidays are next week. So I don't know if you order now, if you can have the Christmas present in time, but you might be able to. You might want to check it out. You can go to shop.spreadshirt.com/podcast-podcast-wrestling-society, or you can go to redbubble.com/people/podrest-society, like the social media handle. Some cool stuff on there, Kyle.
Yes, I've seen some of the stuff on there. It is quite cool. Quite cool. And there's some t-shirts I would like to get. So
yeah, you can get t-shirts, mugs, travel mugs, different kinds of bags if you're, into that kind of stuff. Ball caps. There's a ton of stuff. I can't even remember all of it. Buttons, just random stuff. Even pillowcases or mouse pads if anybody still uses mouse pads, There's a ton of stuff. If you want it, more than likely it's on there. So just go check it out. You won't be disappointed. There's a ton of variety of stuff. But anyway, now that we are done kind of shilling things for the time being, I think it is about time, Kyle, that you and I dive into TLC tables, ladders, and chairs. What you say?
Let's do this.
All right.
Pretty good show to review.
Yeah, I will say I got about a little more than halfway through the show, and I was like, man, it's not bad. There was nothing bad on the show. Don't get me wrong. There was nothing that I was like, yay, this is great. And then about 2/3 of the way through the show, then I'm like, okay, this is awesome. So keep that in mind. TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs took place December 16th, 2018 from the SAP Center in San Jose, California. The attendance, 13,408. Not a lot of empty seats in that venue for that show. So that's cool. Greg, his family, and Ramon and a couple of members of his family were in attendance at this show, so they filled up a few seats there. Did you watch the pre-show, Kyle?
Mostly.
Okay.
I
didn't.
I think I
watch it.
I think I turned it. I think I started watching it. It was like right in the middle of the cruiserweight match, but I saw the other match that was on there.
Yeah, I didn't. To be honest with you, I didn't watch any of it, and it wasn't against. I didn't have anything against it or whatever. I mean, the ladder match, I had zero interest in seeing it. I'm going to be honest about that. I didn't give even half of a damn. But the cruiserweight match, I might go back and watch just because I like both of those guys, and I kind of want to see what they did. Yeah. Some people were saying that they didn't watch the pre-show at all because just last month we were basically told, hey, pre-show doesn't count. So
yeah, pretty much.
I didn't watch it. I did not watch it because of that. It really doesn't matter to me if it counts or not. If I want to see it, but I didn't watch it. So I don't know. I usually don't. Just running it down real quick. Buddy Murphy defended the cruiserweight title against Cedric Alexander. In the end, Murphy won with the Murphy's Law and retained the title. From what I heard, it was a good match.
From what I saw about half of it, like I said, and yeah, from everything I saw, it was good.
I love both of those guys.
Yeah, both of them always put, two of the best that they got in that cruiserweight division. So not a surprise that it was a good match.
Yep.
Probably should have been on the main card if you think about it.
Yeah, I would have. We'll get into some of it, but I mean, even that the opening match, I would have definitely moved that to the pre-show. Bumped up the cruiserweight title match.
Yeah.
But Then we get Elias versus Bobby Lashley with Lio Rush. They were in a ladder match. Here's how the stipulations were described. First one, because it wasn't a title or a briefcase or a contract or whatever the hell. It was a freaking guitar hanging from the ceiling. It was basically a guitar on a pole match, but minus the pole. And they say the first one to grab the guitar gets to use it. Well, that's not what happened.
How the match went.
No. Elias won the match by climbing the ladder, grabbing the guitar. They ring the bell. He wins. What the hell? My question, why do they care about the guitar in this situation when you have a ladder to use as a weapon? Wouldn't that hurt more?
You would think.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to a lot of people, apparently, from what I've read on the internet. But after the match, Lashley attacked Elias. So...
yeah, Lashley actually ended up getting the guitar and hit Elias with it. So, yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Everybody's happy, I guess.
Yeah. Yay. But then we move on to the main show. 3 months of build-up have led us to this. The Fabulous Truth, which is R-Truth and Carmella, versus Team Mahalisha, which is Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox.
I mean, the two odds-on favorites to be at the end at the very beginning of this thing. I mean, how can they not be?
Right, yeah. And keep in mind, while I'm talking about this, the winners of this are number 30 in their respective Royal Rumbles. Think about that. I wrote in my notes, I said, tons of goofy comedy spots. Nothing terrible, but nothing great. They do the dance break at one point, and the Singh brothers come in to dance around, and they kind of ruin it. The crowd boos, and they get dumped out of the ring. I love the double standard of WWE, where it's like, if a woman hits a man, or excuse me, if a man hits a woman, disqualification, can't do that. Whoa, no man-on-woman violence. But if a woman hits a man, it's all good, keep going.
Perfectly acceptable, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the end, Carmella makes Alicia Fox tap out to the Code of Silence. I gave it one, Uncle Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of people hate on this match. You know, you have to know going into this thing, it's, the whole mixed match challenge, it wasn't to really showcase, the athletic ability like in a normal wrestling match. They're just out there having fun with each other.
Yeah, but the thing is, the number 30 spot in the Rumble, I mean,
yeah,
it's supposed to be a big deal. But who the hell cares that R-Truth is going to be 30 in the Rumble?
Yeah, and I keep hearing everybody say, watch, they're going to have him, they're going to have R-Truth come out at number 30 in the women's match accidentally.
Yeah, I heard people mention that. That would be funny. But the thing is, this is 3 months of build-up for a comedy spot. Who gives a damn?
I mean, the whole tournament plagued by injuries and other storylines getting involved for taking people out of it, and it just there's no way the Fabulous Truth was booked to win this thing initially. So,
hell no. And if they were, they need to fire more people than I gave them credit for.
Well, then again, the way the shows have been written the last month or so, it honestly wouldn't surprise me.
You ain't kidding. But in the end, they win. They get interviewed afterwards in the ring. R-Truth instantly kills Carmella's excitement because another stipulation is the winners get a all expenses paid vacation to wherever they want, and they were supposed to submit it beforehand. Keep in mind, these two had 3 months to submit this. Carmella acted like she had no idea, so she left it to the idiot. And he says he already submitted it. They're going to WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. Yay.
Yeah.
More comedy.
Connecticut in the wintertime. That sounds like a perfect vacation spot.
Yeah. That's something. That'd be like saying, I'm I'm getting an all-expenses-paid trip to the office. It's the same thing, because it's like the headquarters for where they work. All right, well, that we already spent way too much time talking about this stupid match. It just, god dang. Second match of the night is the three-way SmackDown tag team match for the SmackDown Live tag team titles. It's the Bar, the New Day, and the Usos. I started commenting a little bit on the attires because for some reason some of them broke out brand new attires on TLC of all pay-per-views. The Usos actually, the New Day have Christmas attire, new Christmas attires, where like pictures of themselves looking like Santa on the side. The Usos have actual wrestling attires for the first time in years. They have like black shorts with Usos written in white on them. That was cool. The Bar keeps Usos neutralized throughout most of the match. Finally, one of the Usos tags in and they go on a super kick rampage. The match ends when Xavier Woods tries his step-in springboard move and is caught in midair with a brogue kick. Sheamus pins him to retain the titles. I gave it 2 1/4 Uncle Dave's, slightly above average.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad match at all.
No.
I really think it should have been a ladder match, though. Instead of a...
Gimmicks would have helped. So, I mean, the next match was supposed to be a gimmick match, and it kind of wasn't. I mean, it was, but I don't know. It was a stupid gimmick. We'll get into that. But yeah, this match, I don't know. It was fine, but god dang, how many times do we have to see these three teams beat up on each other? It's dumb.
Yeah, really.
We'll get into more of that when we talk about SmackDown. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of over it seeing these three teams go at it. But yeah, the reason I said one of the Usos goes on a super kick rampage because like even the commentators didn't know who the hell who was who. Like they kept calling them the Uso, and like neither one of them said Jimmy or Jay. Like they were both confused. They looked especially alike that night. So
I can never tell which one's which between them unless the commentary says who's in the ring.
If I mean I can at times, and if you stand them next to each other, I can tell who's who every single time. But like yeah, when like they're moving back and forth and going all over the place or whatever, no, I couldn't tell whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, like I said, above average match, but slightly. Baron Corbin comes out and he grabs a mic, says that people better get used to seeing him as the permanent general manager because Braun Strowman isn't there. Can't compete. And he tells Heath Slater to start counting him out because apparently there's countouts in a TLC match. But yeah, Heath Slater starts counting, gets to 7, I believe. And then Braun Strowman's music hits. Braun comes out armed, all taped up in a sling. And the crowd goes nuts for Strowman, man. Like, they blew a load. He was super over. But he comes out, he grabs a mic, and he reminds Corbin that TLC means no disqualification. He says, so if anybody is tired of you, screwing him over as general manager wants to come out and help me, they can. And then Apollo Crews, Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, and Finn Balor all show up with chairs. So I get it that he's been the big nasty heel screwing him over for the past, month or 2 months, whatever. But it takes 4 of them with chairs. And they start beating the crap out of Corbin. I forgot to mention this. Heath Slater takes off his referee shirt, and he attacks Baron Corbin as well. So it's 5 of them. Everyone beats on Baron with some chairs. Corbin tries to bail out, but then Kurt Angle comes out, and he meets him on the stage with a chair. He beats the hell out of him as well, beats him back down to the ring. Everyone hits their finisher on him. And then Slater puts his referee shirt back on, and Braun walks up, puts his boot on Corbin's chest. 1, 2, 3, end of the match. I give it I gave it a half an Uncle Dave just because it was somewhat entertaining, but
So
honest,
does this even count? I mean, I guess you could call it a match, but
yeah, it's a dud. So I mean, it is what it is. Whatever, like dud rating, but yeah. So Baron's gone. We'll cover that more on Raw. I don't know. It's a little weird seeing all these baby faces having to gang up on Baron Corbin. And then it raises the question, where are Baron Corbin's buddies? You know, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre and Leo Rush. Where are they?
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, he's alone apparently.
Well, he's the lone wolf.
He is now. Well, we'll get to that more on Raw. Next match, Natalya versus Ruby Riott in a tables match. I really like this one. I'll get into that more. Greg really liked this one. He rated it way higher than I did. I mean, he didn't give it an actual like numeral rating, but he was going on about how amazing this match was, and I was like, it was good. It wasn't great. It was good. But the crowd was hot for it, so I'll say that. I missed. You're gonna have to fill in this part for me because Liv was the first one through a table, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I caught that part. Liv Morgan got up on the apron with Ruby Riott. She shoves Ruby out of the way because she sees Natalya rushing at her, and Liv Morgan takes a spear. She goes flying off that freaking apron, goes right through the table, ass first, almost overshoots the damn thing. She looks like dead. Like, she looked like she was legit hurt. And then at some point, this is what I missed. Apparently, Sarah Logan also got put through a table. When did that happen?
A few minutes after Liv Morgan did. I forget exactly how she went through, but
Okay.
yeah, it wasn't too much longer after.
So it wasn't as impressive as what happened to Liv.
No. Liv Morgan can sell her ass off. I don't think she gets enough credit for.
No, I think she's really good. But she's always the one eating the pin for the Riot Squad. So kind of sucks. But anyway, at one point, it's the table's in the corner, or they put. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed this. Both women tease putting each other through the anvil table, which is the table that Ruby Riott put like the fat head of Jim the Anvil Neidhart on, which I don't get any of this. I just it confuses me. I don't get it. Like, I wouldn't be offended by that. I'd just be like, okay, like I don't know. If my dad died and then they put a fat head of him on a table, I don't know if that would like anger me so much as just be like confusing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I never got it. But regardless, they try to put each other through the anvil table for a while. At one point, it's in the corner. Natalya has Ruby in the sharpshooter, and Ruby knocks the table over, falls backwards right on Natalya's head, and breaks the sharpshooter. I thought that was pretty cool. Natalya screams at Ruby throughout the whole match about bringing her family into the story, like she's audibly yelling at her. This happens again at another match later that we'll talk about. At one point, Natalya pulls out a table with a fat head of Ruby Riott on it. For all of you that don't know what a fat head is, look it up. It's a picture. It's a gigantic, like, cutout, like, sticker of someone. Look up fat heads. They're out there. But anyway, it's got a big picture of Ruby Riott on the table, which confused me even more. Like, shouldn't it be Ruby's mom or dad on the table? Even her, like, you know, her second cousin twice removed. Like, who cares if Ruby's picture is on the damn table? Is that the equivalent of putting Natalya's dead dad on the table?
I guess so.
Dumb. It's dumb. That's what it is. She pulls out her dad's jacket that was also under the ring and puts that on. Weird.
What are the odds that would be under the ring during that match? Wow.
Yeah, like, why did she plant it under... I don't know. She did some work before the show, I'll say that. But she
Yeah.
pulls out her dad's old Heart Foundation jacket, puts it on, she points up to the sky, she clearly gets emotional. Then she gets back into the match. Natalya takes about 2 years setting everything up, which allows Ruby to get back up and lay her out on the table. But then she gets knocked off the top rope. Natalya goes up top, and Ruby hits a riot kick on her. Then she goes up and tries to go for a Super Hurricane Rana, but Natalya blocks it, picks her up, super powerbomb through the table. Natalya wins. And apparently she also had another pair of her dad's sunglasses that weren't broken, or she just repaired the ones that Ruby broke. I don't know. She put those on, and there you go. 2 1/4 Uncle Dave's. That's what I rated it. Did I underrate it, in your opinion? Overrate it?
No, I think you got it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Above
was
average.
yeah.
It
It was entertaining.
It wasn't, yeah, exactly. It was entertaining, emotional, wasn't spectacular.
No.
Greg just freaking loved this match, and I whatever. To each their own. This next match, I loved this match for the most part, but yeah, I mean, it just wasn't. It didn't feel like a big match, but God, I love these two guys. It was Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor. These two beat the crap out of each other for a while. Mostly Drew beating on Finn. Drew looked like a freaking monster, and again, like a freaking superstar, in my opinion. These guys are just awesome. Finn was looking great, like a great sympathetic babyface. He had the crowd behind him the whole match. But then Dolph effing Ziggler comes out and he attacks Drew, but then Drew hits him with an effing Claymore, just knocks him down. But then he throws him in the ring, grabs a chair, Balor shotgun drop kicks the chair right into McIntyre. Then he hit the coup de grace, gets the win. I'm confused about why Balor got the win, and we'll get into more of that. But I'm hoping this actually elevates Finn to a main event level yet again. But we'll see. I gave this...
That would be wonderful, but...
Yeah, I don't have any confidence in it. I think it kind of diminishes the value of Drew McIntyre as a monster, but we'll see. I gave it 3 Uncle Daves. I don't like Ziggler getting involved, but it is what it is.
Both McIntyre and Balor, I mean, they're great, but it was really hard to get excited and really care about this match because we've seen it how many times on Raw? It's like...
Yeah, a little bit. But these two, I think this was their best encounter, and these two just, every time I see them, they get better.
I mean, hell, we saw this match in person at Starrcade.
Yeah, that is true. Not everybody saw that one, though.
No.
This next match was the match that I did not like this match at all. It was Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton in a chairs match. The most entertaining match outside of Coal Miner's Glove.
Because God knows we need a chairs match at a TLC pay-per-view.
Yeah, and these two are so good. And they've had good matches against each other. This was not one of them.
I mean, it could have been a stairs match, I guess.
God. Let's not ever remember that match. Tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs. So dumb. But this was bad. I don't like chairs matches to begin with, and then this one just blah. My notes I wrote, it was a slow, brutal Randy Orton match where Orton spent most of the match just beating the crap out of Ray with objects and throwing him into stuff. At the end, Orton set up a bunch of chairs in a line in the ring. Like he set them up like he was going to play musical chairs. He goes for an RKO on them, but Ray gets out. He does a spinning head scissors, dropping Orton face first onto the chairs, and Randy turns around and sits on them because, that's natural momentum, I guess. And then Ray does a weird-looking victory roll and gets the pin. End of the match. Blah. I gave it 1 3/4 Uncle Dave's, slightly below average. It was just boring. I don't know. Did you give a crap about this?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't know. It
I
wasn't
remember,
good.
I don't remember it all the way, but I remember a spot in the match where Mysterio took this brutal looking bump, like crashing into one of the chairs. And like he was grabbing it, like he was like clutching his ass afterward.
Yeah, he sat on the chairs. It was, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it looked like it was the other side of him that took the brunt of the hit, so that would really
Ew.
hurt to watch. But
The coolest spot of the match, I thought, was where he he did that spot where he slides under the bottom rope and does like a body splash on the outside, but he had a chair with him and he basically like boogie boarded with the chair. That was cool. Other than that, this match just wasn't memorable. For these two guys, this match sucked.
yeah, I mean, giving him a chairs match, I don't know anybody that gets excited about a chairs match to begin with. So it's like,
Nope. Bad. Not good. Finn Balor is backstage. He tells Charlie Caruso that he doesn't know why Dolph Ziggler interfered in his match. Dolph then tells Finn that he was lucky he was even out there. They brawl about for about a half a second before Dolph just beats his ass and throws him into a bunch of boxes and walks off. So they get a match on Raw. We'll get to that later. This next match was actually really good, especially for crowd reaction. Ronda Rousey defended the Raw Women's title against Nia Jax with Tamina, who basically amounted to a houseplant at ringside. She did nothing. She's useless. Ronda's makeup looked like she was getting ready to go out to dinner with her husband, not fight for her title.
I mean, I think that's better than making her look like a raccoon that they've done a couple of times.
Her makeup is always questionable. I don't know. I mean, she looked fine. It's just like, compared to what we've seen of her makeup in the past, this was odd. Two women brawl for a while before Ronda goes for an armbar early, but Nia reverses it into a sit-out powerbomb. Nia really overpowered Ronda, hitting most of the match's offense. At one point, Ronda hits a standing shining knee, like a step-up shining knee, to while Nia was standing. And then she hits a step-up Superwoman punch. Nia reverses a top rope cross body to get the momentum back. And then here's the only time Tamina did get involved. She got up on the apron, but fails. Gets knocked off. Ronda finally locks in a rolling armbar and points at Tamina before she locks it in. Gets a submission win. The crowd seemed super hot through this match. Greg said they were sort of hot for it, not, as much as it came across on TV. But that artificially bumps the rating up a little bit more for me. I said 2 3/4 Uncle Dave's, just shy of 3.
It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
It was better than their last encounter.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of hard to get into this match. I mean, because one, we've seen it before, and
yeah,
two, there was never any doubt in the outcome. Like, I don't know anybody that thought, Rousey was going to drop the title to Nia Jax of all people. So it's just,
yeah, she was filler, is what she was. But it was still a good match. I enjoyed it. It went just about the right amount of time. Not too long, not too short. Ronda got her stuff in. Nia got her stuff in. It was fine. This is what confused me. After the match, Nia's like walking backstage, like holding her arm. Charlie Caruso tries to get an interview with her. She blows her off. And then Becky Lynch is just standing there, walks up to her, and she says, "Remember when you broke my face?" And she beats the crap out of Nia, throws her into the wall, and yells, "Keep my name out of your mouth," and then walks off. And meanwhile, we after this, Tamina just walks up and looks at her like, "What happened?" And then Nia just shrugs. I hope this isn't the blow-off to all of this. Like, it's just, like, what?
Yeah, really.
What happened? And again, Tamina's useless. Where was she? Her cousin just got the tar beat out of her. Whatever. Dumb.
It's like, I was in the bathroom. What the hell happened to you?
Yeah. Like, sorry, I had to crap. Like, sorry, you got your ass beat while I was doing that. It was weird. This next match is where the show started getting really good, I thought. It was the WWE title match. We had Daniel Bryan defending against AJ Styles. We've seen it before, but I could see these guys, like you were talking about Becky and Charlotte, I could see these two wrestle like 5 times within 2 weeks, and I would be happy.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
This was just a fantastic match.
It's hard to believe that we'd get him. Like, if you told me at the beginning of the year, Daniel Bryan's going to be cleared, he's going to be wrestling again. He's going to have a WWE title match with AJ Styles at a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Your first thought, at least my first thought would be, well, that's definitely the main event right there.
Yeah, no, it's 3 matches back from the main event, which blows my mind. But whatever. It was certainly.
I mean, I'm not arguing with what the main event was. It was definitely deserving, but
yeah, I think so. It just, I don't know. The match was so good. And it was a pure wrestling match. And these guys are so good at everything they do. Real quick on the attires. AJ is wearing glow-in-the-dark highlighter green on his, trim on his attire. Like, he literally glowed in the dark. While Daniel Bryan is wearing just plain black from head to toe with just, dark gray logos that can barely be seen. So... very heel-like attire. I dug it. While this match was good, the first half of the match was, super slow. Got a little draggy at times, but not too bad. It really heated up after a while. Daniel Bryan showcased some new offense. He did, a spinning back kick at one point that was kind of cool. The crowd got really into this thing. And apparently he said this on the pre-show, and I missed it, but Corey Graves brought it up, that the yes movement is dead, so there's no more yes lock. It is now back to the label lock, which is what he originally called it coming into the WWE. AJ gets thrown into the timekeeper's area, but he lands on his feet, and he hits a phenomenal forearm outside. They go back in. Bryan goes for the flying knee, but he misses. AJ rolls him up into a small package. Daniel reverses it. 1, 2, 3, small package roll-up win. That came out of nowhere for me. Wow.
Wasn't really expecting a finish like that, but...
No. I didn't hate it, though, because
no.
I don't want to see finisher end of match every single time. I give it 3 3/4 Uncle Dave's, just shy of 4, but it was really good. I think this match could have gone another 10, 15 minutes, and it still would have been great, maybe even better. But yeah, it was fantastic for what time they had. Anything else you want to say about this before we move on?
No, I think that's it. I mean, like you said, this is where the show really took off. The last 3 matches on the entire show really made the show what it was, and this was the start of it.
Yeah, and I hope we get more of these two. Ronda Rousey is backstage talking to Natalya. Charlie Caruso comes up, just completely blows off Natalya. Natalya walks away. She asks Ronda about her taking on Charlotte Flair in the future, possibly. Ronda said, "Payback's a B word, and I'm the baddest one on the planet," and walks away. Short, sweet, to the point. That's good, because when Ronda Rousey, in my opinion, cuts long promos, it's weird. I don't like it. She's not a promo gal. She's good in small doses, but she rambles. She says weird crap, and I don't like it. Was it last week where she was talking about what it meant to be a champion?
Yeah.
Just droned on for 5 minutes about that, and it came across arrogant and crappy. She drew some boos, and it's ugh, you're not a likable person when you talk like that. But either way. Next we get the most divisive match of the night. It was Seth Rollins defending the Intercontinental title against Dean Ambrose. The crowd seemed rather flat from the get-go. Corey Graves kept grilling Renee Young about her marriage to Dean Ambrose throughout this whole thing. Renee kept coming up with like stupid excuses, and she kept getting like angrier with every response. Even Michael Cole joined in with the poking at her after a while. And it's a weird dynamic where she's a babyface until like Dean comes out, where she still tries to act like a babyface, but she's not. And she's like saying heelish things, like she's rooting for Dean, obviously, and making excuses for him. It's like she's a heel. Like just go with it. Heel Renee, whatever.
I thought she was going to get involved with this match. I thought she was just going to have enough of the, what was going on commentary. I thought she was going to get involved in the match and have Dean win.
I didn't think she was going to be an on-screen character like that, getting involved. However, I did think that she was just going to go full-on heel mode and just be like, screw you guys and screw all of this, and just like cut like a heel promo on commentary. But she did not. She snapped right back into babyface mode right after this match. The match was good. Possibly great if you're judging off of, just a wrestling match. There were a few things that dragged it down. I'll talk about. The crowd is making next to no noise whatsoever, pretty much sitting on their hands. They clap politely for a couple of things, but that's about it. Dean finally gets some boos when he plays the crowd at one point. Rollins sells his knee throughout most, like, I shouldn't say he sold his knee for like a couple seconds, and then he started doing dives. And then he tried doing that flip over thing into the buckle bomb that blew his knee out years ago, and he pretended like it blew his knee out again, and he sold it for about 5 seconds, stood up, and hit a buckle bomb on Dean. Dumb. Didn't sell the knee for the rest of the match, by the way. It takes a crowd forever to start doing the burn it down chant when he's doing the stomps, because they started chant. Well, no, I'm sorry. Well, they didn't start the boring chant yet. I think they did start a boring chant at this point, and then Rollins, did the burn it down, whatever. Rollins slips going for a superplex, so Dean makes it work by blocking it and taking advantage again. The crowd chants, "This is boring." So Dean starts doing the burn it down stomps it himself, getting some boos. Seth tells Dean at one point, "This is for all of us and for Roman Reigns, you piece of S word." That gets bleeped out. Seth runs against the ropes, runs back into a boot. Dean hits Dirty Deeds. That's it. What the hell? So Dean won, which is cool.
I didn't get to see the finish of this match. Like, my network feed started buffering during the last minute of it, so I'm just sitting there watching it buffer. It finally recovers, and I hear Ambrose's music playing, and he's walking out with the belt. Like, okay, yeah. I'm glad to see Ambrose get it, but I would have loved to see how he got it.
Well, a couple things with this match. One, the lack of selling by Rollins on his knee, when he acted like, oh, crap, I blew it out. And then he's like, never mind, it's fine. Like, he did that twice. Kind of crappy. Number two, you and I were talking about this off air. This was a lot of people's problem with the match. That it's supposed to be a blood feud. These guys hate each other, and they just had a match. That was it. Another thing, the stupid dialogue by Seth Rollins yelling at Dean. It just a couple times in the match was just kind of dumb. This is what I really hated, was he went for the Avada Kedavra at one point, which, for those of you that don't know, it's when some guy's on their knees and he goes for that super kick. Well, he goes for that, but he stops because Dean stands up and he puts out the fist, like, oh, let's fist bump. Let's do it. And Seth had to think about it. Do I want to fist bump with it? I'm like, what? Like, kick his ass. Come on. Like, what do you have to think about? He said he didn't care if Roman died from leukemia. Like, god dang, dude.
Because he's a babyface, and babyfaces are stupid, according to WWE.
I guess so. And he looked like a moron here, because I'm like, dude, just kick him. That cost him the match, and he loses his cool. He beat the crap out of him outside the ring. He powerbombed him into into the barricade, which, in my opinion, he should never do ever again. But alas, he will. Just a lot of stuff. And then it just ends with a random boot to the gut and dirty deeds. I give it 3 Uncle Daves. Because while it was a good match, it dragged a bit. I mean, as far as like the stuff that, I talked about. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, anything else I missed that you wanted to cover about this before we move on to the main event?
I was just kind of surprised that match got, this is boring chance.
I didn't think it was boring.
No,
it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I expected, but it was a good match, I thought.
Yeah, very good. I enjoyed this all the way until my network started buffering. So,
according to some reporters, I guess this match really pissed off Vince McMahon. He hated it. So,
wow.
Yeah. But we move on to the main event. Becky Lynch defends the SmackDown Women's title against Charlotte Flair and Asuka in a TLC match. This match was awesome.
Definitely lived up to the hype.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, and this is a match that, heading into it, I really didn't think needed, to be a TLC match.
Well, it didn't need it, but it adds to it.
Because I think you look at who's all in the main, all the women on the main roster, I think these are the 3 best right here. I don't know in which order, but you got the 3 best. They didn't need a gimmick. They didn't need like a big gimmick match. I just would love to see a triple threat of just straight up wrestling with these 3.
Yeah. Well, yes, but it played into the finish, and it was great. I thought the gimmick added to it for sure. But let's break it down a little bit. Asuka's wearing some new, brighter, shinier attire. Look like very bright colors.
I didn't think that was possible. Could get any shinier, but
oh yeah, she did, and her whole mask was like bedazzled. Charlotte wore bright pink, and Becky almost looks like a biker chick. She had like some black and gray studded attire with a leather jacket. All 3 women looked strong in this match, with none really getting the advantage for too long. So nobody looked weak in this match. There were clear spots set up between these 3, and all 3 of them were a bit slow to begin this, like getting to the spots. Like they choreographed. It's like, okay, I'm going to go really slow here because somebody's supposed to cut me off. Looked a little over choreographed, but I mean, it wasn't anything too bad. It didn't look ugly. But you could tell they were setting up for certain things. But it was good, still good. Charlotte hit a moonsault to Becky and Asuka to the outside, and then Becky gets a chair and beats the crap out of Charlotte and Asuka. Charlotte kicks a chair away and takes control again for a bit before Becky comes back with a chair. Asuka gets laid out on the German announce table, and Becky sets up a ladder. Becky lays out Charlotte next to Asuka and climbs the ladder. This was one of the biggest things of the match here. Becky goes for a diving leg drop. Asuka moves, and Becky lands ass first right on Charlotte's stomach and ribs, causing Charlotte to yell, "Oh God, oh F," and they bleep her out.
Yeah.
Very loudly.
Yes, that looked quite painful. That would probably be my natural reaction as well there.
Yeah, and Becky got back, so imagine that landing right on top of you from the top of the ladder. But the table didn't break, I don't believe. They just yeah, bad. But Charlotte seemed to be good to go afterwards because she did some stuff afterwards. She was holding her ribs. Like, obviously they hurt, but she didn't seem, like, injured. And she came out looking fine on SmackDown in more ways than one. So, she seems to be okay. No reported injuries, so that's good. But she runs in the ring with a kendo stick at one point and just beats the crap out of both women, beating them off the ladder. Earlier in the match, Charlotte got powerbombed badly off of the ladder into a cornered table. It looked like she hurt her head. And then later, Becky Bexploded her, or Bexploded her, whatever, that thing, into a table that was laying up against the barricade. Charlotte almost lands on her head again. It was not a good night for Charlotte. Becky later, I'm sorry, I already said that. Asuka goes nuts on Becky with a Singapore cane, and then Charlotte spears her right through the damn barricade. Holy crap. It was a bit weird afterwards because Charlotte, like, presses her boobs right in Asuka's face and then, like, slowly rubs up against her to get off. It was weird. And they zoom in on it, like...
Yeah.
They zoomed in on it. Looked like she was forcing Asuka to motorboat her. It was weird.
Yeah, you could tell they were guys working the camera.
Yeah, I was just sitting there like, what is going on here? That was
what am I watching?
That was like a street fight between Edge and Shawn Michaels years ago, where Shawn he did a body slam, but he like fell on top of Edge, and he laid there with his hand on Edge's crotch for a long time. And then he, like, slowly dragged his hand across Edge's crotch to stand up. I'm like, what the hell did I just watch? But anyway, Charlotte pulls Becky off the ladder, and they beat the brakes off of each other. Charlotte sets Becky onto a table outside and then dives off the top rope with a rolling senton through the table. That was new. All three of these women are going to need, or are going to feel this like the next day, I'm sure, and will need to take some ice baths. I can't imagine that they weren't sore everywhere after this.
Yeah, I bet they were all thankful that they were on SmackDown for Tuesday and not Raw on Monday.
I know. Charlotte climbs the ladder. Asuka stops her. The two beat each other up on top of the ladder. Then Becky climbs a ladder next to them. Asuka falls off, and Becky fights Charlotte on one ladder. And then Ronda Rousey comes out in her street clothes, walks over, just shoves the ladder over, drops both women off of the ladder, and then takes off. And then Asuka climbs the ladder, grabs a belt. Asuka is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Holy crap.
It's about time.
It was great. 3 3/4 Uncle Dave's. Maybe even 4, depending on my mood that day. But it was great. Fantastic match. Definitely deserved to go on last. And like you said, all three of these women are three of the best on all the brands, and I'm including NXT and NXT UK. All the brands. They're great. And it looks like they're setting up for a 3-way with Ronda Rousey. We'll get to that when we talk about SmackDown and Raw. But yeah, so great way to close the show. Crowd went out. Keep in mind, the crowd was chanting for Becky Lynch all night. All night.
Oh, yeah.
Becky Lynch is a star. Just a superstar. I know they say that about everybody, but she really is a superstar. Hugely over. And the crowd...
amazing. I mean, the crowd has always loved Becky.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing the transformation we've seen of Becky Lynch this year. Like, you
right.
go back to the start of the year and see where she's at now. It's just it's remarkable.
Right. Yeah, it's
all this
great.
time, I know you and I have said, countless times on this podcast, man, I really wish they'd do something with Becky. Like, my God, she's so damn good. Mm-hmm. And then now we're here. So it's like, our patience actually paid off.
Yep. It was great. Yeah. And the match, like I said, was fantastic. All three of these gals were great. But like the point here is Becky is so hugely over. Like, she is the most over woman on the roster. But Asuka wins. The crowd blows their crap. Just over the moon happy that Asuka won. So Asuka is huge over. From reports I've seen, McMahon is starting to really like her. So
took him a while, but
yeah. And the thing is, Brian Alvarez brought this up on Wrestling Observer Radio. He won, I'm sorry. She got over because she is who she is. They didn't do stupid crap with her. They didn't try any dumb gimmick, whatever, with her. They just let her be her, and she's a megastar. So that is what it is. It's good to see.
They booked her like crap for a lot of the year, so thank God she recovered from that. And
right. Well, looking at our predictions. You and I both guessed Fabulous Truth, Natalia. I guessed Elias. You guessed Bobby Lashley. We both guessed Randy Orton wrong. We both guessed Buddy Murphy. I guessed Usos. You guessed The Bar, so you win there. We both picked Drew McIntyre and got that wrong. We both were right on Dean Ambrose and Braun Strowman and Ronda Rousey, Daniel Bryan, and Asuka. So we got all of our picks correct. Or those last few picks correct.
So we tied. That's what.
I believe so, yes. Which always seems to be the way it is.
Not that this is a competition, but I mean, just looking at it from a...
Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of is, but yeah. So we tied again. But now that
at least we don't have like punishments like they do on Cultaholic. That would be...
God, I know. No thanks. But yeah, now that we're almost an hour into this podcast, it's going to run a little long, people, so buckle in. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll cover Raw and SmackDown, and then Kyle will leave us, and I will go over some spoilers before getting into what happened at Ring of Honor Final Battle. We'll be right back.
DramaCityProductions.com.
Hey, it's Chris from the Statcast. Join myself, Christian, and Missy as we bring you all the gaming news you need to know. With our penchant for sarcasm, we're throwing out all the social justice bullshit and are giving you 100% uncensored gaming news and opinion. So follow us down the rabbit hole that is our minds, and may God have mercy on your ears.
DramaCityProductions.com.
Small Town Mentality Podcast with your host Ben, a podcast about nothing and everything, a podcast where we get together with friends, drink beer, and see where the conversation takes us. We don't edit, we don't care what people say. It's small town people with a small town mentality. It gets offensive at times, lots of swearing, and a whole lot of not caring. Available everywhere you get podcasts. You can find us on Twitter at STMPod, on Instagram at STMPodcast, and on Facebook at Small Town Mentality Pod. We'll see you there.
All right, we are back for our final segment with Kyle before I switch to going solo for a bit. Before we dive into all this, I do want to let you know about some great swag you can get over at our merchandise stores because, like I said, Christmas is next week, everybody. Hanukkah is over, but Christmas is not. And if you want to, just, get something for the new year or whatever else, a belated Christmas present if it's not going to arrive in time, we have the perfect places you can go. We have two great websites I talked about a little bit where you can get a myriad of merchandise from clothing and accessories and whatnot. Go to shop.spreadshirt.com/podcast-wrestling-society or redbubble.com/people/pod-rest-society, just like the social media handles. There you can get a bunch of different stuff on a bunch of different merch. Our logo, you can get our normal logo, the alternate wrestling ring style logo. There's our PWS 316 or the PWS NWO style logo. There's the old Ruthless Aggression Raw style logo or the Wednesday Night PWS Old School Raw logo. There's Big Sweaty Men Pal, hashtag junk hand out of nowhere, or Uncle Dave says plans changed with 5 stars all around it. Those are some of my favorites. Like I said, shop.spreadshirt.com/podcast-wrestling-society or redbubble.com/people/pod-rest-society. And now, I guess it's time to get down to business. You want to talk some Raw and SmackDown, Kyle?
Yeah, let's do it. The start of potentially something new for Raw and SmackDown?
Yep. I guess the show opens up with Vince McMahon. He introduces Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, and Shane McMahon, which I was shocked about. Then they start talking about, they've listened and everything. Stephanie admits that they haven't done a very good job for the fans lately.
I'm glad they admitted it.
Yeah. They said with Baron Corbin no longer general manager of Raw, the McMahons are, quote, taking back the show and will be in charge of SmackDown as well. So it's going to be one 4-person crew in charge of both shows in storyline. They hyped up that there would be new wrestlers and new matchups in the coming weeks and months. Raw was okay. Raw was compared to previous weeks. Raw was great.
Yeah.
But it was good. Baron Corbin came out and tried to plead his case. Couldn't spit it out over the fans. Both Vince and Triple H were kind of mocking him about that. The crowd wouldn't stop booing him. Took him forever to spit it out. Finally, he didn't. Triple H was like, well, let me guess what you're about to say. I can do a better job. It was unfair what happened to me last night, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, here's the thing. We'll give you a shot. You can be the general manager still if you can beat this guy. Turned out to be Seth freaking Rollins. Oh, well.
No, it wasn't.
Or no, I'm sorry. Turned out to be Kurt Angle. What am I saying? I don't know. It's late, people, and
yes, it is.
And I'm not even reading my own. I clearly can't read my own damn notes. But it was Kurt Angle. And, yeah, and then, who was it? Somebody came out after that and said, handicap match. Was that Triple H?
I believe so, yeah.
Triple H said, oh, I forgot to tell you, it's not just Kurt Angle. It's a handicap match. So, again, we get Apollo Crews, Bobby Roode, and Chad Gable. And then Heath Slater was a referee, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's him again. All these people ganging up on poor Baron Corbin. And then I believe it was Shane McMahon came out and said, oh, we forgot to tell you it's a no disqualification match. So they all grabbed chairs, just beat the brakes off of Corbin. They all beat him up and pinned him, and that was the end of Baron Corbin, I guess.
It basically did what Baron Corbin has been doing ever since he became general manager, going out there, like right after a match or mid-match and out, changing the rules. And
yeah. Well, they brought this up on Wrestling Observer Radio. Basically, what they're trying to do here is saying, look, we know our product sucks, but we're not going to blame ourselves. We're going to put the blame on Baron Corbin. And we're going to do it in storyline, but hope that all of you will get mad at him and not at us.
Yeah, because it's Baron Corbin that's writing the show.
Yeah, clearly. Whatever. Next up, we got Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler. It was a decent match, but it got thrown out because Drew McIntyre came in and just started beating everybody up. He laid them all out. Sets up a 3-way for next week, which we will get to in the spoilers section later. Dean Ambrose came out with his gas mask wearing guys. He talks crap. Says, come on, Seth, come out and fight me. Not for the title, but, we can fight again. Seth doesn't come out. So he says, I'll give a title match to anybody not named Seth Rollins. First of all, before I bring this up, Seth Rollins does not get an automatic rematch. None of the champions who lost their titles do, because they said the new regime, quote-unquote new regime, said that rematch clauses for titles are old and antiquated. Really?
and inconsistent, too.
Yeah, and nobody wants to see that. Really? Because on the list of things that I had a problem with, that was not on there. At all. But whatever. I don't think it makes any sense for the champions not to get a rematch. Well, I guess. I mean, in UFC, it's not always a given. Like, if a champion gets, badly beaten, they don't get a rematch right away. But if they put up a good fight, then they will. But this, they just said there are no rematches. You have to earn yourself a rematch. Okay. But either way, he issues an open challenge because that's apparently just a standard thing in WWE now. Everybody issues open challenges. And who the hell should answer it but Tyler effing Breeze? He comes out to a very underwhelming response. not even doing his entrance. He just kind of walks out. Ambrose beats Tyler pretty easily with Dirty Deeds. This was just not even really much of a match. The crowd wasn't into it at all. And then Dean grabs the mic afterwards. He talks more crap on Rollins. Then Seth's music hits. Then Seth turned out to be one of the guys in gas masks. Shocker. But he jumped.
Yeah, because we've never seen something like that before.
Yeah. I want to know who these gas mask wearing dudes are. Are they just dudes? They even, Corey Graves asked Renee Young about that. It's like, who the hell are these guys? You guys have them over for dinner and stuff like that? And of course, Renee, doesn't say anything.
Speaking of the banner between Corey Graves and Renee Young, right as Ambrose was coming to the ring for the first time, I remember Corey Graves saying something to Renee Young. I was like, yeah, I'm guessing there was a big celebration in the Ambrose house last night.
Yeah. That's a little personal, but yeah, we'll let that be.
And I have to get this in here. Damn, did Renee Young look hot Monday night?
Yeah, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I forgot. I think I remember what she was wearing, but it's not very often that she doesn't look super hot. So that is what it is. But anyway, but yeah, Seth Rollins comes in, starts beating the crap out of it. Well, we don't know it's Seth at first, but we know. He starts beating up Dean. He takes the mask off. It's Seth. And then the other goons get in. Seth beats him up, too. Then Dean just leaves. So, yeah. Then the next segment, Bobby Lashley's holding a guitar while Lio Rush talks crap on Elias and says that Bobby's going to play the hits. Well, the hits are apparently showing his ass. Because that's what we all want.
Yeah.
But while he's doing that, Elias gets in the ring, hits him with a guitar, then he leaves. Yay.
I can't believe the way, Bobby Lashley has gone from a legitimate badass to just doing nothing but showing his ass.
And losing repeatedly to Elias.
Yeah.
I thought this guy could be a good contender for Brock Lesnar, and he sucks now. Who cares about Bobby Lashley? I hate to say that, but seriously, who cares? They made him a geek. And I don't know, he's the world's biggest jobber. But yeah, and this sets up for next week. They're going to have a Miracle on 34th Street fight. Hooray. More Christmas gimmicks.
Is this feud ever going to end?
God, I hope so. I don't care about either one of these guys, to be honest with you. And this feud makes me care about them less. Next up, we get a 4-way tag match that was actually really good. It was good to see something new. It was the AOP versus the B Team versus Lucha House Party versus The Revival. This is where we first found out about the rematch thing being tossed out the window. I didn't catch this at first, but thinking about it later, Drake Maverick had to introduce himself to Shane McMahon backstage because apparently Drake Maverick is so insignificant that Shane McMahon doesn't know who the hell he is.
Yeah, Shane doesn't watch 205 Live when normally it airs right after SmackDown.
Even if he didn't watch 205 Live, I imagine he's seen the fact that he manages the former Raw Tag Team Champions. Good Lord. So that just made Drake look like a geek.
Either that or all Shane cares about is SmackDown.
I guess. Yeah, he's really, which makes him look like a terrible commissioner. Because shouldn't he be keeping up on the competition? I don't know.
You would think, yeah.
Or maybe he delegates all that to Paige. We'll get to her later. But he says, he told the AOP, rematch clauses are out the window. You're not going to get one. You got to earn it in this fatal 4-way match. Well, they didn't. The Revival won, which,
yeah,
cool. But
happy to see that.
Yeah, and they get a tag team title shot next week. It was pre-recorded. We'll get to the spoilers later. And I will give you guys a heads up before all the spoilers. So if you're like Kyle and you don't want to hear, You fast forward. Anyway, then Baron Corbin walks up to Seth Rollins and he blames him for him not being GM anymore. Of all people, Seth Rollins wasn't a mile or in the vicinity of that match. So what the hell? Is it because Seth came out last week and buried him? Who cares?
Yeah, basically is what
sets up a match for these two next week. Because if there's one thing I want to see, it's Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. Whatever.
Oh yeah, that's.
But Ronda Rousey goes out to the ring, cuts, or I believe she cut a promo. Was this the night she cut the promo about champions and all that?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so I was wrong. I'm getting my weeks mixed up here. She cuts a promo about what it takes to be a champion. She's getting booed. And then she issues an open challenge again. And you've got 10 women just shouting in Gorilla about that they want to be the one that goes out. And finally Stephanie's like, screw this, and she goes out. She's like, there's going to be a gauntlet match because, gauntlet matches are the fairest way to determine who gets a shot.
Yeah, Stephanie walked out there. It looked like she was going to answer the challenge at first.
Yeah, God. Yeah, that would have been fantastic. She says there's going to be an 8-woman gauntlet match. And she randomly picks Bayley and Alicia Fox to start it off. Why, I don't know, but she did. Bayley beats Foxy. Then she beats Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke actually looked halfway decent this night. Not talking about her physical looks. She always looks hot.
About to say which looked good too. Yeah.
Yeah. She beat Fox. Then Dana Brooke. Mickie James beat Bayley. Then Ember Moon beat Mickie James. Natalya then beat Ember Moon. Then Ruby Riott. And then she won the gauntlet match by making Sasha Banks tap out to the sharpshooter. This all shocked me, but I liked it.
This is how the show ended. This was your main event, a gauntlet match. So something different.
Took up the last hour of the show. I saw one woman on she was complaining on Twitter about that there was nothing new on the show and we didn't get a woman's match for the first 2 hours of the show. I'm like, because they took up the whole third hour. So yeah. And that was the whole women's roster minus 2. So yeah.
God. And then the other two were at ringside talking about Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan out there when Ruby Riott was taking on Natalya. So I mean they were all involved somehow.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't a spoiler about the match itself, but if any of you want to know match placement, this is not the main event next week, which blows my mind because I see what is the main event and I'm blown away. It's not going to get. Do you at least want to know match placement, or do you want to be shocked?
I think I have a feeling I know what the main event is by the way that you're talking.
Take a guess.
Elias and Bobby Lashley.
Wrong. That opens the show.
Oh, okay.
Which should have been, but okay. Let's think about this. Their main event. They're trying to. They got to tease. Hey, stick around for 3 hours because at the end of the third hour, you guys get to see this.
Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin.
Bingo. Who the hell cares? God, can you imagine? Can you freaking imagine? Who's sticking around for that besides the hardcores?
I wonder, did they I'm sure they advertised you're basically getting 2 Raws in one night.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess they wanted to truly get their money's worth and then some, I guess, but...
Yeah. Well, that's why Greg didn't go, because he was like, I had to work on Tuesday, and I would have been dead by the end of this. Yeah, I understand. They did announce there are going to be some call-ups from NXT here real soon. They didn't say what show. Lars Sullivan, we already knew. EC3, Lacey Evans, the team of Heavy Machinery, which is Tucker Knight and Otis Dozovich, and Nikki Cross. Also, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will be returning very soon. I'm happy about that one. Going over the list of call-ups, they're all prototypical, besides Nikki Cross, they're all prototypical Vince McMahon people. Lars Sullivan is good, but he's not great. He really doesn't deserve to, all the hype he's getting. EC3, what?
I was going to say, yeah, typical Vince McMahon guy. Lars Sullivan, big dude.
Yeah.
Not a surprise.
He's going to be booked like Braun Strowman. He doesn't quite have the height, but he's a big-ass dude. And he's big and ugly and monstrous, so there you go. The opposite of ugly and big. EC3, got a great look, great on the mic, not a very good wrestler. But God, he's jacked to the gills.
Kind of surprised he's getting called up so soon.
Same. But, I'm hoping he proves me wrong. I love EC3. He's not the best wrestler. He doesn't blow anybody away with his in-ring work. But he's a great promo. He's got a good look. So, he could prove me wrong. Heavy Machinery, yeah, whatever. They're another gigantic effing team. So they got some charisma. The charisma mainly comes from Otis Dozovich, but, Tucker Knight is good, but they're massive. So, Vince will love them. Lacey Evans. No way in hell should she be getting called up. No effing way. She has a great look, and that's where it ends. She's about the size of Charlotte. She has, she's boring. Not a lot of charisma. The crowd never gets behind her. And she is serviceable in the ring. She's not bad. She's good. She's not ready for the main stage. She's going to be an average worker with a great look. And that's for them talking about, we're shaking things up with new faces and new matchups and better. And it's like, that's not Lacey Evans. No way in hell is that Lacey Evans. But she has exactly what Vince McMahon wants. She's tall, muscular, blonde, and pretty. Boom. Vince girl. Dumb. I don't know. But whatever. WWE is going to WWE. It is what it is, I guess.
And Nikki Cross, we all know about her, long overdue.
Yeah, she deserved to get called up forever ago. But
yeah.
She should have been called up with Sanity. And then again, she might have been MIA with Sanity if she had been. I don't know. All the women they could have called up, though, shoot, I would have been fine with any of them, but I guess the other ones are involved in storylines. But still, Lacey Evans, God, that just blows my mind. She doesn't deserve it. But moving on to SmackDown here, the show opens with Shane McMahon is on a little stage with Paige. In the backstage area talking to the locker room, and he says that with the new regime, Paige is no longer the general manager, but she's, quote, not going anywhere. Okay. I don't know what the hell that means.
I don't understand why they're doing this on SmackDown, too, because SmackDown wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
Most weeks, SmackDown was pretty good. It's Raw that was the issue.
Well, they're just overhauling both shows, and that's whatever. And SmackDown does need some tweaking, but
yeah,
whatever.
It's not perfect by any means, but it was, like I said, pretty good most weeks.
Yeah. But I'm just, super confused, because I'm like, what the hell is Paige going to do? She's going to be a manager at ringside, which I don't want that, because she can't take bumps, and so she'll basically just be standing there shouting people down. She might cause a distraction, but she can't get physical whatsoever.
She became SmackDown general manager for a little bit. I guess that means she's now medically cleared.
What do you mean?
Well, we saw Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah. Well, no, he was general manager for much longer, so she
Yeah.
hasn't had her time to heal properly yet. So needs to go back in that cryo chamber. I don't know. I'm honestly confused about what the hell is going on with Paige.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think everybody's confused, but we'll see. We'll let it play out. Next segment here, Becky Lynch comes out to blame Ronda Rousey for her losing the title. I wasn't fully invested in this whole segment here. I was doing multiple things while watching. I know Charlotte Flair came out and interrupted her, looking smoking hot. She says that she's next in line for Ronda, so Becky better get to the back of the line. Then, of all people, Vince McMahon comes out on SmackDown, of all places, to
No, Asuka came.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Asuka came out before.
Okay, Asuka comes out, then Vince McMahon comes out. And he says Asuka's going to have a main event match, or not a main event match, a title match tonight against, and Naomi comes out. And they have a title match. So didn't he say something like, what the whole, because I didn't catch the whole thing. Did he say anything about what was going to happen between Becky and Charlotte?
Pretty sure he did, but I forget. Like you, I was kind of multitasking while this was going on, so.
Yeah, so don't listen to us about it, everybody. Go back and watch the damn thing. Either way, Asuka defeated Naomi with the Asuka lock. They had a good little match.
Mm-hmm. Don't think that match has ever happened either, so that was a nice change.
Yeah, the former partners taking each other on. It's good. I've got all these segments out of order, by the way, so don't kill me, people. But this is the main stuff that happened on the show. Again, they're out of order here. I know the Miz approached Vince McMahon in the back at one point, said something about I want me and Shane McMahon to be tag team partners, and I don't know what the hell. And Vince McMahon said something about, didn't he say he was going to put him in a match next week? Or
no, he's going to put him in a match tonight. He's going to put him in a tag match.
Yeah, the mixed tag.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Yeah, that entire segment right there with Vince McMahon and The Miz, that was extremely awkward. Just the wording of everything.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know. But The Miz took on... The Miz teamed with Mandy Rose to take on R-Truth and Carmella. And...
He wasn't told it was going to be a mixed tag. He was just told it was going to be a tag match.
Yeah, it was weird. Well, Miz...
So if I was in that situation, I was told it was going to be a tag match, and I'm sitting here waiting on my partner, and Mandy Rose comes out, I wouldn't complain. I'd be totally fine with that.
Hell yeah. However, what did we just talk about on TLC, where R-Truth and Carmella, 3 months, they're the most dominant mixed tag team on the roster. They won the mixed match challenge. They lose to the thrown together team of Miz and Mandy Rose.
Yeah, it goes to show you they've reached the point where WWE just didn't care about the mixed match challenge, because if they did, R-Truth and Carmella would have went over.
I have a feeling R-Truth is going to lose that 30 spot to somebody somehow. Either way, R-Truth gets a skull-crushing finale put on him, and Miz wins. There's that.
Yeah.
Kind of a nothing segment, or a nothing match, I should say. Next, we get the Usos versus Gallows and Anderson. Ends in a no contest when Sanity came in and just destroyed them all. I didn't hate that.
No, and there was a little bit of a promo before that match where I believe it was Carl Anderson that said this is the first time that Gallows and Anderson had been on SmackDown since August.
Yeah, it was pathetic. I've been wondering where the hell they were. I honestly forgot that they even existed.
Same here, or at least I forgot they were on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because Gallows and Anderson are great.
Yeah, they're a fantastic team. This sets up for a match next week. I got to go back to my notes here. Next week, we're going to get... it's weird. It's going to be a 4-on-4 match. Sanity, 2 members of Sanity, and The Bar versus the Usos and Gallows and Anderson. And then the New Day is going to be on commentary. It's freaking weird, people. But That's what we're getting. Then, again, none of these are in order. Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe have a confrontation in the ring. It ends physically somehow. We're going to get a match between them next week.
Kind of surprised we didn't get a match between them at TLC.
Yeah, I know. That seemed where they were headed, but whatever. TLC was fine without that. Rusev cut a promo on Shinsuke Nakamura saying that he looked like Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't disagree. Shinsuke later on showed a video of Rusev doing some weird stuff on Total Divas. A lot of him being naked. And he called him the Total Diva. And that sets up a title match for them next week. Shinsuke will be defending the U.S. title against Rusev. Yay.
Marketing is they're going to blow it off on SmackDown, which is going to air on Christmas.
Yep. Well, I assume it's going to be a good match. I like those guys.
Yeah, should be good, but
it is closing the show, so keep that in mind. Your main event next week, ladies and gentlemen, the only title match on the card. It should close the show. Then the show ends. The main event is AJ Styles and Mustafa Ali, who apparently is now officially a member of SmackDown Live. He got out of that big purple hole called 205 Live. They defeated the team of Daniel Bryan and Andrade Cien Almas. Weird teams here.
Go
ahead.
I was just going to say, the way the match ended, it was actually Mustafa Ali getting the pin on Daniel Bryan after hitting him with the 054, I think he calls it.
Yep. Yeah, Styles made the tag to Ali because Styles laid him out, and then Ali gets up 054 on Daniel Bryan of all people. 1, 2, 3, they win. And then Styles took Almas out with a phenomenal forearm. So, good match. We will see Mustafa Ali versus Andrade Cien Almas next week on
should be good.
Christmas. Should be, yes. Those two guys are awesome. I love Mustafa Ali. Good to see he actually got a win here. Real quick note about Daniel Bryan on the pay-per-view on Sunday. Corey Graves made mention that on the belt that Daniel Bryan was replacing the leather in the belt with a vegan alternative. Made me laugh. I didn't know there was such a thing as vegan leather until real recently. So
yeah, that's not surprising.
But it is a thing.
Yes. Either
way, again, this is going long. Excuse me. A little long in the tooth here for the podcast, but lots of good info to get to. Kyle will be dropping off here, and I will get you your spoiler alert. I will tell you all when to tune back in. Or if you don't want the spoilers, you can fast forward a bit. Spoilers are everywhere, though, so if you don't want to hear or see them, you might want to avoid social media. But yeah, so I will give you a timestamp for the spoilers, so you guys can fast forward if y'all want to. But thank you for joining me, Kyle.
Not a problem.
And he will drop off, and I'm going to play your spoiler alert sounder, which goes a little, I threw it together, it goes a little something like this.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoilers.
Oh, yeah. I like it. I hope you did, too.
I do.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of fun there, a little bit of ha-ha. But, all right. Well, thanks for joining me, Kyle, and now to the spoilers. I'm not going to give you an exact timestamp per se, but this segment goes exactly 8 minutes. So if you skip ahead 8 minutes from now, then you will be past all the spoilers and you won't have anything ruined for you. So when I say now, if you don't want to hear the spoilers, skip ahead 8 minutes. If you get mad about hearing the spoilers now that I've warned you, then that's your own damn fault. Y'all heard the sounder, so hit 8 minutes from now if you want to avoid the spoilers now. We're going to start with the spoilers on, what happened on the Christmas Eve edition of Raw. I believe that's Christmas Eve. Yes, Christmas Eve edition of Raw. The show opens with Elias versus Bobby Lashley in a Miracle on 34th Street fight. Yeah, God. Elias defeated Bobby Lashley again. This started off as Elias trying to play a Christmas song in the ring, and Lashley and Lio Rush interrupted. The match included a backdrop into Legos, and Elias breaking a violin over Lashley's back. After the match, Elias covered Lio Rush in eggnog. Whew, man, that's something. Then we get Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus the Revival for the tag team titles. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable beat the Revival with a roll-up. So, still the champs. However, I did hear something about that the non-legal member of the Revival was pinned, so they're going to have a gripe to maybe set up a rematch. We'll see. Next, we get a 6-woman tag. This bland face versus heel bullcrap, just a time filler. Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Ember Moon, they defeated the team of Mickie James, Dana Brooke, and Alicia Fox. I believe that's what we got at Starrcade. But the Riot Squad attacks the baby faces after the match. There you go. Finn Balor took on Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler in a triple threat match. Finn pinned Dolph for the win. McIntyre declared himself for the Royal Rumble and got beaten up by Ziggler for trying to do a post-match attack. So Drew just looked like a total nerd. They're just really, I don't know what the hell they're doing with Drew. He should be on the top of the card right now. Paul Heyman comes out to cut a Christmas-themed promo about how Brock Lesnar is going to beat Braun Strowman at the Royal Rumble. And apparently he repeatedly tried to sing a Christmas carol. That went over like a fart in church. Then Braun Strowman came out, scared Paul Heyman. He put antlers on his head. And he said that Lesnar was going to get these hands. Then he leaves. Big, scary Braun Strowman. Whew. Good stuff. But then here is where we get Ronda Rousey versus Natalya. Rousey, apparently from what I heard, it was a really good match. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Ronda beats Natalya via armbar. And then, for all of you thinking maybe Natalya's going to turn on her, nope, they hug it out after the match. So that's that. Heath Slater took on Jinder Mahal after this match. What the actual F? Like, really? But Heath defeated Jinder via DQ when the Singh brothers interfered. And then Rhino showed up dressed as Santa Claus, and he hit a gore on Jinder. That's crazy. So I kind of want to see where that's going, but it shouldn't have been placed there in the card. Then the main event, we get Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. Apparently, it was kind of a nothing match without much of a response from the crowd. It was at the end of a 6-hour haul by WWE, so whatever. And this is what they freaking closed with. But Seth beat Baron with the stomp. Boo. I mean, I'm glad Seth won, but yeah, whatever. It was a nothing match to close out 6 hours of television tapings. Next, let's hit up some SmackDown spoilers for y'all. The opening contest, Sanity and the Bar. I don't know which members of Sanity, but Sanity and the Bar versus the Usos and Gallows and Anderson with the New Day on commentary. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows hit the Magic Killer on Cesaro to get the win. All right, then. So that's cool. I guess Gallows and Anderson may get a title match. I would hope so. Then next, we get this freaking segment. R-Truth and Carmella came out to the ring dressed as Santa and Mrs. Claus. Kind of anxious to see Carmella in that outfit. Then they did a dance break while R-Truth got the names of Santa's reindeer wrong. Shocker. More comedy. Daniel Bryan came out to yell at them for being a part of the culture that's ruining the planet. He said that Santa isn't real and then Daniel called R-Truth fickle for believing in Santa Claus too. They go into a dance break, and then Daniel Bryan drops R-Truth. I assume this would set up for a Daniel Bryan R-Truth match, which, of course, we all want to see. Not. Mustafa Ali versus Andrade Cien Almas. Ali got the win with the 054. I'm split on this because I want to see Andrade be elevated, but I think Mustafa is hot right now, and they could do something with him. Gets 2 wins in a row. I could see him getting a rematch with Daniel Bryan sometime. Then we see the ring gets done up with a red carpet for the Miz TV segment, complete with the Best in the World trophy, which had a Santa hat on it. The Miz comes out to have his segment with Shane McMahon. The Miz still wanted to be Shane McMahon's tag team partner, and he left it up to the WWE Universe, who gave him an overwhelmingly positive response. Shane took a second and said, "You better not screw me, or there will be major consequences. Okay, let's try this." And then they hugged, and The Miz was so happy, the place popped big. Which shocks me, but whatever. These guys are over, so whatever. And then we get Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy ended up winning via countout, so clearly going to set up for a rematch. Also, after the match, Samoa Joe choked Jeff out at ringside with the Coquina Clutch. So definitely going to see a rematch here, maybe at the Rumble. Then the main event. This one was a good one. Shinsuke Nakamura defending the U.S. title against Rusev. Rusev got the win with a Machka kick. So he's the new U.S. champ. Crazy, people. That's cool. We'll see a rematch there for sure. Well, I mean, not for sure, but I would assume. I hope Shinsuke gets elevated to something better than this, and I hope Rusev can elevate the U.S. title again, because it's been in purgatory while on the waist of Shinsuke. Because they don't do anything with him. And it just seemed like a nothing title for a while. I don't know. But either way. That is the spoilers. And yeah, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back from telling you about some great other podcasts on the Drama City Productions Podcast Network, we are going straight into my review of Ring of Honor's Final Battle. It will close out this long, long podcast. I hope you all stuck around for it, and I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Like I said, when we come back on the other side of this break, it's Ring of Honor's Final Battle. We'll be right back.
Drama City Productions.com.
This is Conversations with Paycheck and Red, a weekly podcast with two good old boys talking about anything and everything that crosses their mind. You may not know what you're going to get with an episode of Paycheck and Red, but you sure know you don't want to miss it. So do what you got to do. Download the app, find the episodes online, and make sure that you don't miss 1 second of Conversations with Paycheck and Red.
Drama City Productions.com.
Hey, I'm Morgan Danielle,
And I'm Luco Blaze.
and you can check us out on www.themetalexperience.com for the latest interviews featuring punk and metal bands from the Chicago area. And on our website, you can read interviews and reviews from bands all over the world in our blog section, either on Reviews from the Crypt or the Let's Chat Q&A sessions.
Also, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And remember to keep it metal.
Woo!
All right, we are back at it. Let's wrap up our great weekend of wrestling here with Ring of Honor's Final Battle. It took place Friday, December 14th, 2018, from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. It really was a really good show. Not every match was like blow me away great, but it had a lot of really good matches. I'll get to them. The opening match was between Kenny King and Eli Isom. I didn't really know Eli Isom before. He had a good showing. At the opening of the match, Kenny King runs down Isom on the mic before attacking him and starting the match. The two are fairly evenly matched, but showcase a veteran rookie dynamic, which was pretty well showcased throughout the match. As I said, I've never seen Isom before, but he has some pretty cool original offense that I really enjoyed. The match has some good time without these guys wearing out their welcome. Kenny gets to win with a Samoan driver, and then he teases the handshake, but pulls the hand back and just leaves. I gave this match 2 Uncle Daves. Next match was really good. It was Jeff Cobb defending the ROH World Television title against Hangman Page of the Elite. These two really start off hot. No collar elbow tie-ups for these two, and they just beat the snot out of each other from the start. The crowd's really hot for this match, and the commentators keep going on and on about honor for some reason. I didn't catch the full thing. Commentary's off and on with Ring of Honor, which I guess is better than WWE, where it always sucks. But Cobb he does this swinging back suplex slam. He flipped him into a tombstone pile, like a sit-out tombstone pile driver. It was insane. Cobb really impressed the hell out of me here. Every time I see him, I love him. It was a sickeningly awesome showcase of strength from Cobb. The countering in this match was insane. Cobb ended the match with hitting a Tour of the Islands twice, and then he pinned him. I give it 3 1/4 Uncle Daves. Very good. And then we get the women. It was Sumi Sakai defending the the Women's of Honor World title against Karen Q, Madison Rayne, and Kelly Klein in a 4 corners match, which means it was elimination. Karen Q was eliminated by Kelly Klein first with the K-Power, which is apparently just basically the attitude adjustment, but she drops to her knees. Madison Rayne is eliminated next by Kelly Klein after Sumi Sakai hit, I believe she calls it Smash Mouth. It's some flipping, she gets her almost like a swinging face buster type thing. You'd have to look it up. But anyway, she hits that, and then Kelly Klein picks up the scraps and pins Rayne. Then Sakai kicks out of a K-Power. Kelly Klein takes her up top and hits a super K-Power off the second rope for the win. She is the new Women of Honor World Champion. Good for her. I think she's fantastic and beautiful. 2 women hug it out at the end, which was shocking because Kelly Klein's a hardcore heel, but whatever. Her and Sumi hugged it out. It was a good close to their story, I believe, and the beginning of another story here between Sumi and Kelly. I gave this one 1.5 Uncle Daves. I mean, it was a 4 corners match. It didn't have a whole lot of time, but it was good. It didn't suck, so maybe 1 3/4 Uncle Daves. Next, we got Jonathan Gresham, who I've honestly never seen work before. He took on Zack Sabre Jr., who's one of my favorite guys on the planet, and Greg's as well. Jonathan Gresham looks like he was cosplaying as the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. I noticed that right off the bat, although instead of wearing maroon, it was just straight red. They start off the match with a bit of a mat wrestling and trading holds kind of deal. Sabre is out wrestling Gresham at almost every single turn. Gresham looks frustrated after a while. He looks gassed about 9 minutes in, but then appears to get a second wind. While Gresham isn't a rookie, he's been in the business about as long as Sabre, or maybe just slightly less time. This match still had that feeling of rookie versus veteran like the opening match did. Gresham appears to be struggling to keep up with Zack Sabre Jr., who makes everything look effortless. He's just so smooth. But Sabre Jr. blocks Gresham from bridging into an O'Connor roll. He kind of just puts his hands up and shoves him back up to a standing position. But then he hooks the arms, and he gets him in a bridging kind of O'Connor roll for the win. I gave this 2.5 Uncle Daves. It wasn't a fantastic match, but it was a good match. Very smooth looking. I loved it. Next up, we got Dalton Castle versus Matt Taven for Taven's, quote, real ROH World title. It's just a Ring of Honor World title. It's like a replica with a purple strap. The commentators kept calling it his Purple Rain title. It was kind of funny. I don't know the whole storyline here. I guess he never got his shot at the title, so he just declared himself the champ. Weird, but anyway. Matt Taven is good. He looked really good in this match. Dalton Castle is pretty good as well, even though I'm not a huge fan of him. I'm going to read the first couple lines of my notes verbatim here because it says, it needs to be read like this. I said, both men carry themselves like champions. In any other major organization in the world, these two would most likely be treated like geeks, but this match was treated like a big-time deal. My next line, I said, as I was writing this sentence, the two did a stupid spot where they kept dodging clotheslines in the corner for about 20 minutes, making them both look like stupid geeks. Taven hits a wrecking ball dropkick followed by a suicide dive, then does a flying plancha where Castle moves and Taven lands ribs first across the guardrail. Castle takes a back bump into the entrance steps, and Taven works the back after that. TK O'Ryan hits Castle, then the boys dive onto him, and then Vinny Marseglia comes out from under the ring and lays out the boys, and then drags him under the ring. That was funny. Taven nails Castle with the belt, but then it's only a 2 count. I thought that was the end, but only a 2 count. Later on, TK O'Ryan continues to get involved. Lots of interference here. After a bangerang into the post, Dalton Castle only gets a 2 count because of the boys. One of the boys gets powerbombed through the ropes and right on top of them, so it breaks up the pin. O'Ryan then gets ejected. Castle hits another bangerang, but Taven grabs the ropes. Taven reverses a bangerang into a climax for the pinfall victory. It was an entertaining match, but there were a couple of blown spots, lots of gaga, and quite a bit of interference. Made Taven look kind of weak. I gave it 2 Uncle Daves. Average. Next up, we get Christopher Daniels versus Marty Scurll. Apparently, this is Christopher Daniels' final match in Ring of Honor because the storyline is, I don't know if this is real. The storyline was Ring of Honor decided not to re-up his contract for 2019. I don't know where this is going. If Daniels just goes home and calls it a career, I don't know. We will find out. Either way, great back and forth, old school technical wrestling between these two at the opening of the match. Marty proved that he has the moves of a classic heel. I really thought he showcased his stuff great in this match. Their movements are crisp between the two of them, and if there were any blown spots, I really couldn't tell. If I were to critique anything, I'd tell Marty to stop doing the Scurll driver. One wrong move, and Daniels could have died. The Scurll driver is like a package pile driver, but instead of getting him between his legs, he's off to the side. It looked bad. Dangerous as hell. The crowd was loud and super into the match, but those fans clearly weren't in the first few rows directly in front of Hardcam. They were sitting on their hands throughout this entire match. Only a few of them clapped occasionally. It was weird. The crowd was loud, but then the crowd directly in Hardcam just looked bored. I was like, what the hell? I don't get that. But Marty ended up working the neck of Daniels throughout the entire match. Eventually locked in the crossface chicken wing, got the win. I gave this 3 1/4 Uncle Dave's. As I said, this was supposed to be Christopher Daniels' last match in Ring of Honor. As he was saying goodbye to the crowd, Bully Ray attacks him from behind, beats him up, and then he grabs a mic and tells Flip Gordon, let's do this right now. So it was Bully Ray versus Flip Gordon in an I Quit match. Here's where I started taking more extensive notes. I'm going to try to blow through this. It's a pretty good I Quit match. Not fantastic, but it was good. Short. Flip Gordon shows up on the balcony wearing camo pants and a flak jacket and waving the American flag. The commentators point out the bored-looking hot blonde in the front row is actually Flip Gordon's girlfriend. So Mazel Tov, who bought a ticket to sit in the front row and not give a damn. They teased table spots for a while until Bully punches Flip with a chain. Bully shouts down Kerry Silken. Bobby Cruz stands up in front of him, and Bully shoves him down. Todd Sinclair stands up for him, and he gets shoved down. Bully goes to hit Silken with a Singapore cane, but Christopher Daniels jumps in front of him, and he takes a cane shot. Flip then jumps off the top rope onto Bully. Flip is covered in blood. He really bladed for this. Bully beats him down, and then grabs Flip's girlfriend out of the front row and threatens to put her through the table. And Flip Gordon begs him not to. And there's a table between them, so he can't get to him. Then Kerry Silken walks up and canes Bully in the back to stop him. Bully gets in his face, and Flip's terrible actress girlfriend low blows Bully before Flip kisses her, covered in blood and sweat. Then he grabs the U.S. flag, which is also a kendo stick, jumps off the top rope, and nails Bully in the face with it. He locks in an STF with the cane, and then Silas Young breaks it up, hitting Flip with Misery, which is his finishing move. Silas pours lighter fluid onto the table in the ring, and Cheeseburger rushes in to attack him. Silas hits him with Misery. Then Colt Cabana leaves commentary to hit the ring and takes out Silas with a chair. He hits Bully with a chair, and then Silas low blows him. Silas flicks the bick, and then the lights go out right before he was about to set the table on fire. Lights come back on. Sandman is in the ring with a cane. I would have never expected this in a million years. That Sandman returns to the Hammerstein Ballroom. He's got a cane in his hand. He takes out Silas before popping a beer and drinking it. Then Flip is up, and he takes out Bully Ray with 2 kendo sticks, just beating the hell out of him until Bully Ray finally quits. He just caned the crap out of him up against the table until Bully said, "I quit." Sandman and Flip Gordon then share a beer before Colt hands Flip the flag. Flip waves it for the crowd. The entire match seemed like a throwback to ECW. The run-ins, which I usually hate, didn't bother me in this one. It was a fun match, lots of drama. I loved it for what it was. 2.5 Uncle Daves, I said. Then we move on to the Ring of Honor heavyweight title match. It was Jay Lethal defending against Cody Rhodes with Brandy in his corner. Cody said that he grabbed the mic right off the bat, and he said if he loved the fans, he would be doing the Madison Square Garden show. Then he tells the crowd to kiss his ass. He was wearing a Metal Gear Solid inspired attire this night. So was Brandy. Jay Lethal grabs the mic after this and says that if he retains the ROH title, the company's shiny new toy will be gone, referring to Cody. Cody goes for a baseball slide and sells his knee that he blew out a while ago, allowing Lethal to take over for only a few seconds before Cody attacks him, showing that his knee is perfectly fine. Later on, Cody really does hurt his knee and when he goes for a disaster kick, and Lethal picks his leg apart. Cody gets the advantage back when he distracts the ref, and Brandy spears Lethal. Apparently, this is Brandy's new thing because she's got titanium in her shoulder now because she had to get her collarbone, I believe, repaired. So it's like they're saying it's her metal shoulder, so she does the spear now. Either way, she spears Lethal. Lethal tries to give Shattered Dreams to Cody. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I guess I didn't skip anything. But yeah, Brandy spears Lethal. Later on in the match, some stuff happens. Lethal eventually tries to give Shattered Dreams to Cody, but Todd Sinclair stops him, and Brandy accidentally spears Cody. Lethal then stops Todd from disqualifying him. Cody pulls Brandy in the way of a lethal injection, and Lethal gets her with it. Cody hits Crossroads for a near fall. Cody locks in the figure 4, and the bell rings. Turns out it was Hangman Page ringing the bell, and he hands Cody the ROH title like he won. Todd tells him that the match is still going on, he didn't win, and Lethal hits Cody with Crossroads himself for a near fall. Lethal then goes for Hail to the King, but Cody gets the knees up. Cody hits a bionic elbow. Lethal clotheslines him out of the ring after this and hits 6 suicide dives. He then goes for a 7th, but Cody gets in the ring and he spits water in his face. He then hits a vertebreaker for a 2 count. It was the safest looking vertebreaker I've seen in my life. Lethal kicks Cody into Todd Sinclair at one point, and Todd takes a bit of a bump, and he hits Cody in the back of the knee with the ROH title. He then does the Stardust taunt before flipping Cody off and hitting multiple super kicks. Then he nails a lethal injection, and then he gets up, hits tons of super kicks after that. He misses another lethal injection, but he reverses some stuff into a figure 4, and Cody finally taps out to the figure 4. After the match, the two men shake hands. One of the best Cody matches I've ever seen. I love Jay Lethal. 3.5 Uncle Daves. After the match, Marty Scurll gets in. He stares Jay Lethal down, and he looks him and his title up and down because apparently he's set up for a title match. So I guess he's not leaving the territory yet. NWA champion Nick Aldis comes out with a hot blonde chick, and he claps and smiles before leaving. They didn't really say why he was there or what he was doing. Marty Scurll then grabs Jay Lethal's title, holds it up, and then he throws it back at Lethal, points at him, and then he leaves. So setting up for something next. That should be a good one. Finally, we get to the main event. It was a ladder war for the ROH Tag Team titles. SoCal Uncensored, which is Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, were defending against the Young Bucks and the Briscoes. Match starts off hot with some fast-paced action. Chairs and tables were broken out by the Briscoes almost instantly, so this was a TLC match, essentially. So we got TLC 3 days, or like twice within 3 days, basically. The Briscoes are the first in control. Kazarian is the first one to be busted open, and he's bleeding bad out of his forehead. Matt Jackson powerbombs Jay Briscoe into a cornered ladder. The Bucks take control. Doesn't last for long as SCU takes control back, keeping everyone out of the ring. SCU gets pulled off the ladders by the Bucks twice, and then the two teams battle it out for a while. Nick and Kazarian throw the ladder back and forth between. Matt Jackson runs under the ladder and spears the crap out of Kazarian. Nick Jackson fights off Scorpio Sky to climb the ladder, and Kazarian does a springboard codebreaker to Nick off the ladder. That was sweet. Kazarian climbs and gets beaten with a chair by the Briscoes. Mark suplexes Matt onto the cornered ladder, and Kazarian gets backdropped into that same ladder, but only his ankle hits it, and he sells the ankle for a while. Scorpio Sky gets the advantage for a little bit before the Bucks take out the Briscoes with chairs. Then Nick Jackson takes out Scorpio Sky. Matt gets backdropped outside through a table. That was by Jay Briscoe. It was insane. Kazarian stops Jay Briscoe from using a staple gun by hitting him with a low blow. We did not need staple guns in this match. SCU hits an assisted cutter to Mark Briscoe through a table on the outside. Mark was inside holding onto the ropes, and Scorpio Sky pulls the ropes to slingshot him. Kazarian grabbed him out of midair and nailed a cutter right through the table. It was insane. Let's see. Jay Briscoe is bleeding profusely. Matt Jackson grabs a sledgehammer, but he doesn't use it. That's a second weapon introduced that was never used. He takes out Jay Briscoe, and then the Bucks go for Scorpio Sky, but Sky springboard Hurricane Rana's Nick Jackson onto a ladder. Matt Jackson then jumps onto the ladder, popping it up into Sky's face. It was kind of like seesawed in the ropes, and he jumped on one end, and it popped up and smacked Scorpio Sky in the face. Matt Jackson then climbs the ladder before Jay Briscoe hits him with a backbreaker onto a unfolded chair, broke it. Nick hits Jay with a slingshot X-Factor onto a chair. SCU takes Nick Jackson outside the ring. Mark Briscoe, who's also bleeding quite a bit, throws a ladder onto SCU outside. He just picked it up and press slammed it onto him. He slams Scorpio Sky down and climbs a ladder. Sky gets up, follows him up the ladder, and then Matt Jackson just appears out of nowhere, spears Scorpio Sky off the ladder. The Bucks go for a Meltzer driver onto Jay, but Nick gets caught with a cutter off of the ropes from Mark Briscoe. That was beautiful. And then Jay gets out of the tombstone position, hits a Jay driller on Matt. Jay Briscoe is just bleeding buckets from his face and has blood on his shoulder and back. I don't know if he had other people's blood on him or if that was his. Mark Briscoe sets up a ladder bridge in the corner. Kazarian takes him out and smacks Jay with a chair before hitting a Styles Clash on Jay on the chair. And then Kazarian does the AJ Styles hand pose. Mark and Kazarian meet at the top of the ladder before Mark gets thrown onto the ladder bridge. Nick Jackson climbs up another ladder to stop Kazarian. Jay shoves the ladder over, and Nick goes through an outside table. So both members of the Bucks went through tables. Jay Briscoe climbs up to fight Kazarian. Mark throws a chair, and Kazarian just falls straight back through a table. Jay Briscoe pulls down the tag team titles for the win. The Briscoe brothers are now the 10-time Ring of Honor tag team champions, most decorated tag champs in Ring of Honor history. 3 3/4 Uncle Dave's. Fantastic match. If you can watch only one thing from that show, make it be Ladder War. If you love violence, if you love blood, lots of it, lots of cool spots, good show, great weekend of wrestling. I know this was a long podcast, but we appreciate you sticking around for it. I thank you very much. Kyle thanks you as well. We appreciate everybody who stuck around for all of this. And tune in next week when it's Greg and I. We will be going over the year 1995 Year in Wrestling Review. It's going to be part 2, where we cover WCW's Uncensored, very first ever Uncensored 1995, and WrestleMania 11, one of the notoriously worst WrestleManias in history. So check that out. And also, last week, it was Impact Wrestling invading the Rockstar Pro Arena in Dayton. I am talking with Andy from the On the Road podcast. It is, he was at the show, I believe, and we are talking about that. That is going to be on YouTube. It's going to be posted on WrestlingWithWrestling.com as well. Check that out. We're going to be talking about what happened at the show. We're going to be talking about Jim Cornette's recent war of words with a former Rockstar Pro champion, John Murray. It's going to be good. Check it out. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next week. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
This has been a Drama City production.